Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Infamous coming back with another video for the Elder Scrolls Online. This video in particular is talking about the Imperial City, and of course with the update, Imperial City has been made free. I'm sure you've watched many other streamers have put out content in terms of PvP and PvE content that you can do with the Imperial City. And of course one of the things that you can earn from Imperial City are things like the new Telvar. And with Telvar you can purchase a variety of different sets. One particular set that I'll be discussing, it would be the Black Rose set, which is the highlight of course for this particular build. Black Rose set that is meant to work, it's a heavy armor set, it's meant to work in conjunction with the heavy armor passive, as you can see right there, that it increases the your weapon and spell damage by 149, as well as increasing the magicka and stamina recovery that you get from the constitution passive. That of course, whenever you take damage with while you're in heavy armor, the constitution is going to proc for both stamina and magicka return, and of course that happens every 4 seconds. So this is actually that I'm going to be highlighting is going to be a sword and shield build, which is an update to the sword and shield build that I ran as a hybrid necromancer. So this particular build that I'm going to be discussing here is going to be for a sword and shield heavy armor build. It is a 5-1-1, 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light. My necromancer is a Nord. I do recommend Nord for the extra resistance as well as the extra ult gen. It does give you both stamina and HP recovery, as well as making you immune to things like things like the chilled status effect. And the chilled status effect, when procced, reduces your amount that it produces minor maim, as well as rooting you in place for anybody who's using a destruction staff with elemental wall. This particular build, we are running the warrior for the weapon damage. This is in Cyrodiil. All points are going to be into stamina. This is the necrotic underlord build. I did choose to run the light and medium here to gain the maximum amount of resistances, because Black Rose comes in heavy armor only, and we're not running it on the jewelry. So I am running one light Dama House with Impen, and that's for the max stat, as well as a medium Kino with a tri-stat on it, and that gives you the weapon damage and spell damage. Particularly, we're just running it for the weapon damage. We are running 5 Black Rose, and that's going to be on the body. I have switched off from Impen to running an additional Reinforced, and that's for an additional 1% mitigation to both physical and spell resistance. And of course, for this particular build, I did not run. Typically, I run 3 tri-stats on the large pieces. For this build, I chose to run it on the helm and not on the shield. So the only tri-stat that I'm running for this build is on the helm. I'm running 1 magicka, 1 stamina, and then a stamina on the shield, and that's to max out the amount of stamina because I have more than enough HP on this particular build because of Black Rose and heavy armor, and of course because I'm a Nord. For this particular build, because it's a sword and shield build, I am running 3 sturdy, and that's to reduce the amount of stamina it costs to block, as well as running 3 impen and 2 reinforced. Next set that I'm running is the hunting set. The hunting gives you critical stamina, another line of critical, and almost 300 weapon damage for the 5-piece. For this particular build, I do recommend going infused to maximize your weapon damage that you can see right here. Almost 4,700 on a sword and shield build. It's a lot of weapon damage, a lot of stamina. We have a lot of other abilities that are increasing our effective weapon damage that you can see right there is 8,200. That's a lot of effective weapon damage for a battleground build. It's a very, very strong build. A little light on the recovery, but you'll be able to manage that via Black Rose and heavy attacks. And of course via Mortal Core, which will also give you stamina. Like I said, this is a sword and shield build. For this particular build, you do want to run, I would say you would want to run a shock glyph on the front bar, and that's to gain the extra. From shock, you can proc concussion, which procs an additional 8% via the minor vulnerability. So you're going to want to run a shock glyph there, and then like I said, stamina, sturdy shield. For the back bar, I am running a back bar Hunting's Rage. Ideally, you want to run an infused axe. You want to run the axe on the back bar so that you have the opportunity to proc the weapon bleed from the passive from 2H, which is in the heavy weapons bleed, as you can see right there. It's a 16% chance to proc roughly a 12k bleed. But as long as you have an infused back bar, you can run whatever that you have access to. But ideally, if someone can craft you an axe, go with an axe. I am running tri-stat food, and that's for the max recovery, the maximum amount of stamina of stats that you can see right here with 25k, almost 25.7k health. 16.5k magicka with 29k stam. So even despite having infuse, we're running a lot of stamina, and you typically don't see a lot of battleground builds that run with this amount of health and stamina while having really good access to weapon damage, having high amounts of weapon damage and effective weapon damage. And you can take a look at in terms of the resistances that you can see right there, 28k resistances with 12% reduction to critical. And that's fine because a lot of the damage reduction that we're going to get is going to come from, as you can see here, we're running minor protection from Ransack, as well as heavy armor, and then of course Necromancer gains reduced damage to damage over time abilities, as well as reduced damage via Spirit Guardian. So we have a lot of access, and of course I'm running Spell Wellness ability, so there's a lot of forms of mitigation. So I didn't choose the morph that gives you the major protection. For this one, I actually chose Necrotic Potency, 1 for the heal, 2, it gives you the damage reduction while slotted, and 3, of course, it gives you the maximum amount of ultimate, which is 6 every time you consume a corpse. You'll gain 6 ultimate, and that's basically for high uptime on ultimate use. Our main source of CCing people is going to be Invasion. It CCs for 4 seconds. It's also our gap closer. And of course the stun is 4 seconds, but it can be increased by up to 50% depending upon how far away from your opponent. Ransack, of course, is there, like I said before, for the minor protection. Does a little bit of physical damage, but primarily we're using it also for the major fracture. For 15 seconds, going to reduce your opponent's resistances by an additional 50 to 80, increasing your damage overall. Our main spammable on our front bar is going to be Power Slam. Look at the tooltip on that Power Slam. I'm sure you guys already saw the other build that I was running for Stam DK that I believe had like an 8,000 tooltip on Power Slam. This one is even better. As you can see, it's 9,000, and of course whenever you block, it says there you gain resentment stacks, which increases the amount of damage that your Power Slam will do by 5%, and this stacks 10 times. So if you block long enough, or when your spell wall is up, you in essence could turtle for a few seconds and then release a 15k Power Slam. That's a huge amount of damage, and it's an instant cast, and it can also be animation cancelled with a bash as well. Our last ability on our front bar is going to be Camouflage Hunter, and that's for while slotted. It gives you access to Major Savagery, which is going to increase your weapon critical, as well as reveal Nightblades for 3 seconds. For any Nightblades that cloak within 6 meters, it'll also reveal them. It is expensive, so use it wisely. And of course, while slotted, since it is a fighter's guild ability, it will give you an extra 3% to your weapon damage, as well as whenever you deal critical damage from either the side or behind an enemy, it will increase your damage by 8%, giving you access to also minor berserk. Like I said before, we're utilizing Spell Wall for the damage reduction, as well as increasing our Power Slam damage, as well as reflecting all projectiles for 7 seconds. We're going to have high uptime because 1, we're Nord, 2, Necrotic Potency, and 3, just from normal ult gen, you're going to be able to have high uptime on this ability. On our back bar, we're utilizing Mortal Coil. You can see that the heal right there is 20,000 over 12 seconds. It also gives you access to a little bit more stamina regen, and of course, while on your back bar, it increases your healing by 3%. It's also free. The only thing that it requires is a corpse, and you'll be able to get a corpse from we're running Blast Bones, as well as Spirit Guardian, and of course Summoner's Armor. All 3 of these abilities will be able to drop a corpse, which will allow you to utilize Mortal Coil, and of course Necrotic Potency. Our second ability that we're running is Blast Bones. Blast Bones is going to be our second form of spammable damage that also does the Major Defile, which reduces their healing by 30%, as well as their health recovery by 30%, and it's got a 13.5k maxed out tooltip. It's a lot of damage between Power Slam. You're literally rotating between like 20, almost 23k damage between these 2 abilities. So between like a heavy attack into a shield stun, you can immediately, obviously Blast Bones first. You can go Invasion, Ransack for the reduction, for the fracture, and then go right into a Power Slam. It's huge amounts of damage, and you could always set up for a combo or a Pestilence. Pestilence, you go Blast Bones into Pestilence, CC into a Power Slam. Make sure your opponent already has Fracture on him for huge amounts of damage. On the back bar, we're also doing Forward Momentum. Forward Momentum is there for the increased weapon damage via Major Brutality, also giving you minor endurance, as well as making you immune to snares, as well as immobilizations for 4 seconds. our fourth ability in the back bar is Spirit Guardian. It's going to give you a little bit of healing every 2 seconds, as well as giving you access to your passive from, where is it? Undead Confederate, which increases both your magicka and stamina recovery by 200, as well as reducing the amount of damage that you take by 10%. You want to be sure to practice when you're already in combat, because we don't have a lot of magicka recovery. We're only running 855 with a pot, so you want to be sure to practice once you've already engaged in combat, so that you'll then receive ticks from your heavy armor from the Constitution passive. And then our last ability here is going to be Summoner's Armor, which is our major armor buff. It also reduces both the Blast Bones as well as the Spirit Guardian cost by an additional 15%. And then our last ability here is the Ultimate, which is Pestilence. Look at the tooltip: 10k, 10.5k, and almost 12k, while also applying major vulnerability. So typically your combo that you want to run would be like an Invasion. Make sure your opponent is debuffed with Ransack, and then Invasion for the stun into a Power Slam. Make sure you are casting Blast Bones on rotation. The moment your opponent is able to be CC'd, Blast Bones, you want to make sure Ransack, immediately light attack into a Blast Bones, shield stun into a Power Bash. If you don't have your ultimate, re-rotate. And of course, if you do, you want to Blast Bones into your ultimate, into your shield charge, which will cause them to panic and either block or roll dodge, and then release your Power Slam. If you need to turtle, you've got Spell Wall when you need to turtle, and then being able to utilize stronger Power Slams because of the passive there, that while slotted, it increases the amount of damage that you do whenever you block. So it's a really good build. I've already got all the items I'm going to be testing and utilizing this build. I've already run a Sword and Shield build on the Necromancer as a heavy armor build, and I really enjoyed it. So this basically is another build that you can utilize if you have different sets. That people always say, oh, most people run the exact same sets, and I'm here to tell you there's absolutely no need to run all the same sets. There's a wide variety of builds that you can create in the Elder Scrolls Online, and take a look at that effective weapon power of 8,200. It's enormous amounts of power coming out of this build. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. If you enjoy the content, be sure please to hit the like button so that it gets recommended to other players. And of course, if you're looking for other builds, be sure to check out battleofthebuild.com for people who are looking for tutorials on what are battlegrounds, as well as how to create viable builds. Or if you're not sure which class you want to play and how to pick a race for your class, you can check that out here under the how to play. If you're looking for more battleground build features, just go right here to the ESO classes, whichever class that you're looking for, and of course there'll be numerous builds there for you to play. Like I said before, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, you could always check me out on Twitch at Infamous with 2 S's NYC. Take care. Thanks for watching.